Today I'm going to be reacting to McCartney 2 by Paul McCartney. I've heard a couple solo McCartney albums at this point. We've heard Ram and Band on the Run. And yeah, this one came out, looks like actually 7 years after Band on the Run, so quite a bit of time in between these two. I know I am skipping over Wings Over America, mainly skipping that because it's like super long. Make sure to go join the Patreon if you want to see this reaction uncut. There's a link in the description down below. And we're gonna hop into this. So Paul McCartney's 80s album. Let's see if we get some synth work. Whoa. Wow, these vocals. It's kind of got a funky feel to it. This is not what I was expecting at all. A lot happened in 7 years to get to this. Oh, nice percussion here. Okay, we're building here. A little crescendo. Okay, I mean, very different from Band on the Run. 7 years apparently. It feels like, you know, a lot happened in that time span, because this feels so much different. I didn't love that, if I'm being honest here. Like, this feels a little bit more poppy and straightforward than like what McCartney usually does. Yeah, I mean, it's just such a drastic switch up. Maybe that's one that would grow on me in the future, but it's just kind of a very like sugary, bubbly, almost like bubblegum pop is the word that I would use to describe that. Just very over the top, in my opinion. I didn't love that. So if the whole album's like that, we might be in for something that I'm not going to be a huge fan of. But let's see. Next track is Temporary Secretary. Crazy synth line. I mean, yeah, you can tell we're in the 80s. What is this chorus? What? This is pretty grating, man. I do not like this chorus.
She can be a belly dancer. I don't need a true romancer.
Oh God, what did I just listen to, man? I thought the first track was bad, but man, that was rough. That's one of the most annoying choruses I've ever heard, bro. Temporary, secretary. What made him think that was a good idea? That gives me like current day, you know, the current day equivalent of that is like Dance Monkey by Tones and I. Like, come on. What is that chorus and what are these lyrics? So like, I think they're like purposefully misogynistic. Like, sure, I guess you could say he's like playing a character, I guess, but just a weird attitude to this track. Gross sounding chorus, just so nasally. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what Paul was trying to do. I mean, I think the best thing that you can give that, the most praise that you can give that, is that it's unique. But other than that, I really was struggling to find anything to like about that track. Next track is On the Way. It's a nice drum fill. A little bit more of a laid-back feel to this one. I think anything's gonna be better than that last track, to be honest.
Well, it was only out of fear.
You know, this is fine. It sounds fine. I mean, it's way better than the last track, but I just feel like there's not... this doesn't even really feel like a Paul McCartney song. There's really not much of his signature style to this. It feels more like just any, you know, generic, bland 70s Hendrix-inspired songs, you know, just, yeah, that didn't have that, like, signature Paul McCartney style to it that makes his stuff so great. Like, sure, the guitar tones are nice, the bass is nice, I like how the drums are mixed. Like, technically, I guess it's a fine track, but just didn't really have much personality to it. I feel like we could find a middle point between Temporary Secretary and On the Way. Temporary Secretary almost had too much personality to it, where it's like, just the ideas here were not just, why are we doing this, you know? And then, you know, On the Way is just a little bit too far into the bland territory. That kind of reminded, like, Band on the Run was good technically, but that album too just kind of lacked a certain level of soul to it. Next track is Waterfalls.
Don't go jumping waterfall. And I need love. Yeah, I need love. Whoever should decide.
See, at least he's actually like trying to write something here, you know? This is like the first time I felt like there's been some effort put into these lyrics. That's our guitar though? That's our guitar tone? Really? It's really, really bland.
And I need love. Yeah, I need love. Someone's glossy motor car.
I like this perspective of being like almost like a parent sheltering like your kids, both in verse 3 and verse 2. Like just wanting to protect this person, you know? Okay, that's like the first track where I feel like Paul's actually trying something. Well, actually, no, he tried on Temporary Secretary for sure. It just was a big swing and a miss. But yeah, like this feels like the first kind of, you know, set of lyrics that has some heart put into it. And well, it's not like the most profound thing in the world. Part of me is a little bit thrown off by it because it feels like it's treating itself very seriously, but it's not really saying anything that, you know, that interesting at the end of the day. And I do like kind of the syrupy, synthy atmosphere to this track. It's very, it's 80s because you have the synths. I feel like that's an easy, you know, but kind of like a lazy thing to say. But it's not like typical, you know, 80s like synth pop or anything where it's like, you know, classic like 80s toms and stuff. It had still like It had a McCartney style to it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I think that's probably why that's my favorite track so far. All right, next track is Nobody Knows. Why does this feel like a cover? It feels like an old like Motown song. It's fine. It's like, what do I even say about this right now? It's just so meh. You know, it feels like that track's trying to be like a fun, busy kind of rocker, you know, upbeat energy to it. But just doesn't really work for me. Maybe Temporary Secretary is just kind of like, you know, it's just ruining this whole album for me. That track really left a bad stain in my in my mouth, and it's like maybe I'm not giving a fair shot to the rest of these tracks. I mean, Waterfalls was fine. At the same time, there's just not as much character or personality put into like any of this stuff. I really like hate being negative. You know, when I first started this channel, I kind of like did, you know, somewhat enjoy being negative in a sense. You know, most of the albums that I was doing were like regarded as classics, you know, so it's like I could if I wanted to, but like I genuinely did enjoy most of the stuff I was listening to. So when I got a chance to be honest about not liking something, I kind of enjoyed it. But now I'm at a point where like if I don't enjoy something, it's really hard for me to talk about it. We'll keep going. Maybe there will be something that, I don't know, hits for me here. We'll see. Next track is Front Parlour. Kraftwerk vibes. There's something kind of charming about this track. It's so unapologetically 80s, but okay. Nice crescendo here. Yeah, that track had a nice charm to it where a lot of these synths are kind of gimmicky in a sense, but I really like that, and it feels very truthful and very honest, very DIY, you know? and you know, it's interesting. The 80s are kind of a decade where I feel like a lot of transition was happening, a lot of change was happening with music, you know, with, you know, more electronic elements being introduced, synths and that kind of stuff. I guess that transition sometimes can result in stuff that feels a little bit awkward and like before it was like fully figured out. And I feel like that track kind of falls into that, but at the same time, it like has this kind of cuteness and charm to it, like I said, that I find kind of enjoyable. So yeah, that was pretty solid. Let's keep going. Next track is, what is the next track? Summer Days Song.
Someone sleeping through a bad dream.
I feel like the production's kind of fallen flat here. This could have a little bit more width to the atmosphere or to the mix. It's just, wow. Yeah, this is pretty lifeless. I get what he's going for here. It just feels like this production needs to be elevated. Even the drums here, I get wanting to mix them quietly, but like, it'd be cool to hear some growth from them, you know? This does kind of have like a nice classical feel to it. Yeah, like that. Summer's Day. That resolution is very almost Christmas carol-y. Okay, not bad. You know, I had some gripes with the production and just the mix feeling not as lush as it could feel. It felt, whoa, I'm just saying feel a lot. It did feel a bit thin, but yeah, I kind of like the classical feel to that track. I keep saying feel. The drums, I guess, too, like, why are we mixing those so quietly? I get that, you know, it's a bit of a more gentle track, but mixing those so quietly is like almost trying to hide the drums. I think it still could work. That track could work with the drums being just a little bit louder, or at least letting those like grow throughout the duration of the track. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I came into this reaction a little bit sleepy, and this album's just making me even more sleepy. Be interesting to know the backstory to this, because I think I did see something about this being a bit more of like a purely solo album from Paul here, where he's kind of just recording a lot of these tracks on his own, you know, in like a little, whatever, bedroom studio or whatever. So, you know, maybe I gotta give it some grace because of that, but overall the songs here are just not hitting. They're not hitting, you know? So, let's keep going. Next track is Frozen Jap. It's funny, Paul's face on the cover is just me throughout this entire album, just like, what is going on? It's a really good synth line, this melody line. Okay. Well, that was fine. Didn't really do anything that interesting in my opinion, but a good synth line. Let's keep going. Bogey music is next. Okay, we're doing a Elvis impression here, maybe? I hate to just like constantly complain, but the mix here, like the drums are so bland, the bass has no flavor to it at all. It's just not good. Please make it end. Make it stop. Alright, that's up there with Temporary Secretary as, you know, one of the worst tracks on this album, one of the worst tracks I've ever heard from Paul McCartney. Yeah, not as annoying as Temporary Secretary, although it's close. Not as grating, I guess, on the ears, you could say, but just, the lyrics here, they're just nothing. The production here is nothing, too. It's, I guess, a little bit interesting with the kind of almost Elvis impression that he's doing vocally here. But other than that, it's just kind of nothing to me. What happened to Paul's lyricism, bro? What's going on here? Like, I get that you can, like, have fun and not everything has to be taken so seriously, but, like, even when you're having fun, I feel like there's an art level of artistry to that, and this is just not hitting that. It's not funny to me. It's not exciting. It's not weird enough to be like, oh, even if it's kind of unlistenable, it's not weird enough to be, like, interesting, you know? Oh man, let's keep going. Next track is Darkroom. Hopefully I'm explaining well enough why this album isn't clicking with me. Like, you don't have to agree, obviously. I bet there's plenty of people that love this, but I don't want to go to your dark room, Paul. Don't take me there. Please, no. I'm scared. You're kind of creeping me out. Oh my god. Oh my god. I gotta take the headphones off for a second. What are we doing? What is this, friggin' Alvin and Chipmunks, bro? Sure. Whatever. One of these days, this album is so all over the place. It's so disjointed. See, like, this is pretty, but like, we didn't earn this, you know? It's like, why are we here after the horrible, annoying Darkroom? Like, there's no logical flow to this album at all. It's to be found. Yeah, I mean, that was good, but, you know, it just feels tainted coming after Bogey music and Darkroom and Temporary Secretary. Just, you know, just immediately, you know, second track on the album, it's like, just really lets you know what you're about to be in for with this album. Like, just, I don't, just very, you know, uninspired at points, very just bad ideas that should have never, I don't want to say shouldn't have ever been released, because, you know, artists should be able to release whatever they want to release. And that's, I guess, the main positive that I can give this album, is that it feels very unfiltered and very truthful and authentic. But it just does result in some of these ideas feeling very unfinished and annoying at times and disjointed. This album in general, none of these tracks flow together in a logical way at all. And I feel like there's a way to do that. You know, there's a way to have variety from track to track, but there has to be some sort of thread tying things together, and that just doesn't feel like that is here on this album at all. Some of Paul's most simplistic lyrics, some of his most repetitive lyrics, where, you know, it's not funny to me, it's not colorful enough to be funny, it's not exciting, it's just, they just fall flat, you know? I know this video is gonna get, you know, people are gonna disagree with this. I actually don't know if this is regarded as one of his better albums, or if people even really care for this album. It's not super highly scored on Album of the Year, so maybe I'm not too crazy in not loving this album, but hey, if you like it, let me know why down below. I would be really, really curious to hear why people like this. There you go. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below. Leave a like, subscribe, go join the Patreon if you want to see this reaction uncut, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.